It's a city of 9 million people, and over 200,000 of them are millionaires. At first glance, London seems like one of the best places to live in the world. It's a top global finance hub with more private jet traffic than anywhere else in Europe. But what was once the heart of a global empire has undergone a dramatic shift. Today, more than 1 in 4 people in the city live in poverty. Homelessness is 8 times the national average. It's easy to see why. In 2017, the median rent was around £1,500 a month. Today, for a new tenancy, you're looking at over 2,780% increase in just 8 years. And in the middle of this historic property crisis, nearly half of all property purchases in central London are made by foreign buyers. For many young people in the UK, London was once the dream, the promise of lucrative jobs, opportunity, and a better life. But many of those perks are drying up. Jobs are harder to find, and they don't pay what they used to. Even though London has a very wealthy population, the actual standard of living is far worse than it looks. After paying for housing, hiring Londoners have some of the lowest spending power in the entire UK. Wages, when adjusted for inflation, haven't gone up since 2008. You earn more, but you live worse. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Last year, shoplifting in the capital surged by 35.5%, the highest increase of any crime type across London. It is not uncommon to see basic products like meat and cleaning supplies locked up in plastic boxes. To prevent theft, London isn't all bad. Of course, some people still live decent lives, but it's a shadow of its former self and, for many, a symbol of Britain's general decline. On average, Londoners spend a staggering 46% of their income just on housing, 50% more than the rest of the UK. It is no wonder that 1 in 4 Londoners are considering leaving the city in the next year because of the high rents. So, how did things get this bad? A lot of London's current housing issues can be traced back to a seemingly small decision made nearly 100 years ago. In the 1930s, the average house price in London was £500, about 3 times the average income. There was no housing crisis back then. The concern wasn't about building enough houses, but about cities sprawling into the countryside. So, the government decided to contain London's growth. The idea was simple: protect the countryside and preserve air quality. By drawing a boundary around the city, a green belt, local authorities bought up land around the capital to protect it from development. And for a while, it worked. Huge areas of countryside remain untouched today. But this policy had unintended long-term consequences. Today, an area 3 times the size of Greater London is protected, which means there's very little land left to build on. Where 52,000 new houses are needed each year, London has only been building 30,000. That leaves a shortfall of 1.1 million homes needed just to bring London up to the European average. But planning restrictions are only part of the story. Back in the 1960s, it wasn't just family homes that were cheap. The city had a huge amount of government-owned social housing. At one point, 1 in 3 houses in the UK were publicly owned. This kept prices low because there was a high supply of affordable housing and less competition. That all began to change in the 1980s under Margaret Thatcher. The 1980 Housing Act introduced the famous Right to Buy scheme, giving millions of council tenants the chance to purchase their homes at massive discounts. In many ways, it was a success. Home ownership in London soared. For many families, it was a life-changing opportunity. But there was a catch: councils weren't allowed to reinvest the money from those sales into building more housing. What followed was decades of decline in public housing. Today, there's a record 330,000 households on the waiting list for social housing. In London, and 180,000 people are in temporary accommodation. The safety net was sold off and never replaced, and we're now feeling the long-term effects. A house in London that cost 8 times the average salary in 2005 now costs 14 times that. This situation is clearly unsustainable. But what you might not expect is that there are nearly 100,000 unoccupied homes in the capital, all sitting empty while demand soars. To understand why, we need to look at how housing works. Houses aren't just for living in, they're also safe investments for the wealthy. London's rising prices have made it one of the world's most attractive places for real estate investment. Prices in central London have increased by 46% in the past decade alone, meaning investors expect huge profits. The result? Most of the people buying homes aren't interested in living in London. Last year, 45% of central London property sales were made to foreign buyers. For locals trying to find a home, it's a disaster. Studies show that without this foreign investment, average prices would be about 19% lower. And it's not just the housing market that's been sold to the highest bidder. Take London's water supply. Thames Water, which supplies all of London, was privatized in 1989. But upgrading infrastructure doesn't generate short-term profit for investors, so it just didn't happen. Now, the system is breaking down. Since 2022, Thames Water has failed to complete over 100 infrastructure upgrades meant to reduce sewage spills. At the same time, the company has paid out over £7 billion in dividends to investors, financed by debt, not profit. That debt has now ballooned to £18 billion. Thames Water is on the brink of collapse. As a result, water bills in London are expected to rise by 31% this year. Regular Londoners are being forced to rescue a failing company that just announced plans to pay out another $2 billion to its shareholders. But it's not just water. Prices across the board have risen 35% in just 4 years. Energy, housing, and post-pandemic inflation have driven everyday goods up by 25%. For many, this is simply unaffordable. Before the pandemic, the average household paid around £1,000 a year for energy. Today, it's $1,700. And London's older, poorly insulated homes make things even worse. Years of underinvestment have brought public services to a breaking point. Public service debt has skyrocketed from $500 billion in 2008 to $2.8 trillion today. London councils face a £17 billion maintenance backlog, and 1 in 6 students study in schools needing major repairs. To cover this, council tax has nearly tripled in some areas since the 90s. The UK now faces its highest tax burden since World War II. These worsening living standards have consequences. A 10% rise in the cost of living correlates with an 8% increase in crime. London's overall crime rate jumped 25% last year alone. Shoplifting is up 35%, and half of all Londoners say they don't trust the police. But it's not only crime, transportation costs have spiraled too. Most cars that do meet emission standards must pay £12.50 a day to enter Greater London, plus a £15 congestion charge in the centre. Air quality has improved, but for some workers, it costs over £500 a month just to drive to work. This hits working-class Londoners the hardest. London is also home to one of the most expensive public transport systems in the world, sometimes twice as costly as other global cities. Only 40% of trains have air conditioning, and summer temperatures underground can exceed 30 degrees Celsius. Across the city, infrastructure shows the same story of neglect. Hammersmith Bridge has been closed since 2019 due to safety issues. 200 of London's 500 bridges are rated poor or very poor. In one of the richest countries in the world, that should be unthinkable. London has become a city for the rich. Can it be fixed? The answer lies in one word: supply. Building more affordable homes could ease prices and make the city livable again. Reforming just 1% of the Green Belt could create 140,000 homes. Developing old, empty industrial sites could create over 400,000 more. The government could also increase taxes on empty properties or far-known luxury homes. London is one of the most economically productive cities on Earth. But without affordable housing, efficient infrastructure, and a stable cost of living, its future is at risk. The question now isn't whether London's crisis is sustainable. It is how long before the system collapses. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing London today? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues shaping our world. Thanks for watching.